How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you guys are excited for this one, boys, because we have a patch 25.04. I think that's it. Yep, rundown. And look, there's not much changes in this patch. There's been 3 bug fixes for Yorick that I know of. Number 1 is Maiden no longer draws minion aggro, and I will show you clips of what I mean, and I'll go into more detail about it. Number 2 is there's been some Mel bug fixes. Mel E no longer one-shots Yorick Mistwalkers. For some reason, every single time it hit one, it was considering as single target damage, and that was one-shotting all your Mistwalkers. So there is a few bug fixes. That's all nice and lovely. Will it matter much? To be honest, I don't actually think it's going to make that much of a difference. His win rate's probably going to go up a little bit from the Maiden bug fix, but I don't think it's going to be substantial. Whatever win rate rise you saw from the last patch, from where Mistwalkers no longer draw aggro, that's probably the substantial win rate, that change that you're going to get. In terms of runes, I'm going to give you 2 rune pages for Jungle Yorick that I think you should be running for the next patch, or this patch, sorry. So Conqueror is your go-to. Conqueror is, if you don't know what to do, you just take this page. You don't have to run double adaptive. You can run 1 health scaling and 1 adaptive if you want. And if you want to run Legend Haste, you can run it. The rest, I would be concrete about. Don't run anything else. This is the way you want to do it. If you're versing anything where it looks like you can't Maiden split, you run this build. If you're versing something where you want more aggression early and want to secure your early game, you run this build. And if you're playing Bruiser Yorick and you want to build a bit more durability so you survive the fights, you can lead your team to win, you take this build. The only time you would ever swap off this build is if you're going to be running Comet. Now, Comet in jungle has a nice interaction with Maiden Split. That is the main reason you would run it. I'm not saying it's a bad rune page, but it's not really. I was talking to some people in my Discord about it, I think it was yesterday, and it's not so much that Comet is better than Yorick if you're playing Maiden Split. It's just Comet becomes viable when you're playing Maiden Split. So if you drop Maiden, she procs this Arcane Comet. She also procs Axiom Arcanist. You get a little bit of Transcendence ability haste through this build. And you also get a little bit of AD. And the AD basically mimics Conqueror once you get to 20 minutes in. So generally speaking, once you hit 30, 40 minutes, it surpasses Conqueror in terms of efficiency. And the only thing you're missing out on is the sub runes. But in reality, Arcane Comet will deal around about maybe just under 1.5 times the amount that Cut Down will deal. Axiom Arcanist, if you add it on to Arcane Comet, will probably deal around about 200 to 600 damage extra. And Gathering Storm gives you a little bit of extra AD. It does have a place, and its place is when you're versing something and you want a Maiden Split. You pick this into matchups like a Mordekaiser top. If you look at the enemy team and you think, I can Maiden Split this game so easily and it will be really, really good, you can take this, and I promise you, you will have fun. This is by far the funnest rune page in Yorick history. Like, there's nothing like playing Arcane Comet and just splitting Maiden, and 30 minutes in, you're just seeing these comets go flying on the other side of the map. It is crazy fun to play with. The other thing I would like to point out with this page is you should not be building it into something like Irelia. If they have Irelia, if they have Yone, if they have Jax, these are champions you're not going to beat in a 1v1 in a side lane. So Arcane Comet emphasizes that ability to actually kill that person in the side lane. You're not going to be splitting Maiden against those champions for the purpose of killing them. You're going to be splitting her for the purpose of getting pressure. So that's where Conqueror really stays in handy, because then when you take the 4v5, at least you've got this OP Conqueror that stacks immediately off all your ghouls that you got around you. If you run Comet into Irelia, it's not going to make a difference. She's going to kill all your ghouls, then kill Maiden, and then you're going to be team fighting with an Arcane Comet, and it doesn't really do too much. The only other thing I would probably say is if you wanted to, you can run a Deep Ward. No, sorry, you can run Ultimate Hunter with Grizzly Mementos secondary. If you want a little bit more CDR, and you can do this with the Conqueror page as well. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I think Inspiration is too good to give up with the free boots and approach velocity. Now, if you did want to go for Domination secondary, I would probably more persuade you to go Domination primary and just take Electrocute. Now, Electrocute is one that has had a recent buff. The main reason you'll go for Electrocute is because the damage base on it is so much higher than Comet that even though Comet can reapply multiple times, because the scaling of them is the exact same, you can see this does 70 to 240. Comet, on the other hand, you're looking at 30 to 130. Even if you throw 2 Comets out, the bonus AD scaling is not significant enough to actually deal more damage than Electrocute in most cases. And that's assuming your Comets even land. That's the funny thing. Most of the time in Sidelands, you're only going to get 2 Comets out. You'd be lucky to get 3. And yeah, it is nice to throw 3 out at a time, but 130 proccing twice, you're looking at 0.2 of your bonus AD plus 260 at max rank. Whereas this one here, boys, you're looking at 240, you're just less by 20 damage. And it's half the AD ratio. But by that time, you've only got 150 to 200 AD. You're only looking at 15 to 20 bonus damage. You're not missing that much. So I think Electrocute is highly underrated. And if you want to run Comet, consider running this one instead, because I think this might be a better page than the Comet page. The new patch, there's a few things I want to go over. Number one is there's been a bug fix, and it's actually, boys, a substantial bug fix. It's probably the biggest change there's been that's going to make Yorick the best champion he's been in a long time. And that bug fix is Maiden no longer draws minion aggro. So you can see my Maiden's hitting the dummy. These minions are not aggroing onto Yorick. This is a huge change because last patch it was only the ghouls that were targeted. Maiden wasn't covered in it. So you can see I can put a dummy up here and I can chuck an E. I can chuck ghouls. And look, I can chuck Maiden onto her as well. I'm not taking aggro. And that means you can be free to poke as much as you want under tower. You will not take aggro from the enemy minions. Now, keep in mind, you will still take aggro from towers. Both Maiden and Ghoul attacks will still redirect to Yorick if they deal damage to an enemy champion. That being said, let's have a chat about items. Now, you can see from here, I've put together a little sample of what I think is the best way of going. In terms of jungle items, really depends on elo. I would probably say low elo, blue is by far your best. It lets you reposition the best. It lets you move around the map quick. When you walk through a bush, you get yourself a truck ton of movement speed, and that is extremely valuable for jungle Yorick. High elo, I think green has a lot more value just because you have a lot more fallback, just in case you overstep too much, take some damage. At least you got the shield come up. Red has a place in jungle split when you play Maiden split, but in reality, I don't think it's worth it. If it gave anti-heal on the burn effect, I would say it's worth it. But at this point in time, I wouldn't bother. In terms of actual items though, in terms of your legendaries, I really love this build. This 2-item build of Stridebreaker into Opportunity is my favorite build to run right now. You're going to see a lot of my videos in my current Unranked to Master series is going to be using this build. And the goal of it is basically to give you the fastest way of clearing the jungle possible. So by this time, you would be around about level 11. You can end up just basically popping everything. You AoE the minions around for so much because the Stridebreaker procs. Opportunity gives you 26 lethality, so you're shredding through the 20 armor that are on these units already. You're doing true damage to all these little monsters, and you can run away and let the jungle item do all the remaining damage. So you can do that with every camp. You can do it with the enemy camps, and it just gives you versatility. Now, the other thing about Opportunity is it gives you 200 movement speed when you kill a champion. So you can run in, pop Stridebreaker, get a kill and run out, and you're still running around with 600 MS. It is absolutely bonkers how much MS you have with this build. Only problem with this build is there's no CDR. You can see right now, flat out, fat 0 ability haste. There is ways around it. You can go to Black Cleaver 3rd after that, or you can go something like, where is it? Experimental Hexblade. These items will give you a lot of extra ability haste. You could also, if you wanted to, go secondary domination and pick up Ultimate Hunter. Now, that is one avenue you can do. If you want to go that route, absolutely, it's all yours. Give it a shot. In reality, I think you're actually probably better off dealing with the no ability haste, playing better, basically protecting your Maiden at all times, and just minimizing the downtime. Because once it hits 15 minutes in, you pretty much got your opportunity, or you're about to get your opportunity completed. You're starting on your CDR from then on, and that's when you're going to be dropping Maiden. And once you're level 11 and you're dropping Maiden, right now she has 130 second cooldown, but if I get Cleaver, she goes to 108. That's actually not that long downtime. The real downtime is if you die early and you're stuck with a fat 160 second cooldown on Maiden. It hurts. It really, really hurts. So if you're not comfortable not having CDR, don't do this build. Instead, what you can do is you can do the standard, which is Cleaver, Shojin, Leandries. It gives you 20 ability haste early. If you want to invest into the domination tree for some extra ability haste, you can. But 20 ability haste early gives you around about 120 second cooldown if Maiden dies. If you add in blue buff, it ends up being 30 ability haste. There is a lot of room to work with if you have Cleaver, Shojin, Liandry's, and it is a great build. There's nothing wrong with it. The difference between these two builds is Strikebreaker into Opportunity gives you a lot of jungle clear. So my ability to clear this entire bot side and then go to my top side jungle is so much faster by running a Strikebreaker than it is by running Black Cleaver. Now, the difference between them, you can mirror somewhat of what that does. So what you can do, instead of running the Strikebreaker, I'll show you what you can do instead is you can basically auto this, hit the big one and run. And you can use this effect to kill the whole jungle camp while you go and do something else. Now, that is one option you can do, and it works with pretty much all camps. You can, and bear in mind, these are low-level camps, so it's grossly exaggerated, but you get the point. You don't have to overstay for camps to be able to solo kill them. You just need 1 to 2 ghouls to usually clear the whole camp. So in a one sense, Strikebreaker does overkill camps, but there is a skill avenue in doing a very similar effect to Strikebreaker by simply abusing the way our ghouls work with the jungle item. So the way it works, essentially, you just got to make sure that when you E the whole minion and when you E the whole wave, you attack the big one and run, and that will mean your ghouls will focus on the big one, and you can then go do something else. It's very consistent, it's very reliable, and it works every single time. You can then go, you know what, I need to be bot lane. Meanwhile, my ghouls have killed the whole camp. In terms of other items, if you're playing top Yorick, best build right now, at least most reliable build, this is showing such a high win rate, it is crazy. The Trinity Force into Black Cleaver into Hullbreaker has like a 56% win rate. It is so high, and it is so nice. And if you like playing Bruiser Yorick, this is the patch where you will get away with Bruiser Yorick. Being able to harass people in lane is so nice, but it gives you a way to harass and build Bruiser at the same time now, because you're not going to take extra damage from minions anymore. So you're not necessarily gated by how much HP you have. If you have Bruiser Yorick before and you're harassing people in lane, you might be sitting at maybe less 300 health because of all the minion damage you're taking. Now you're going to have 300 extra health ready to take that fight, and you're still outputting heavy damage. So I think Bruiser Yorick's going to be really, really good this patch. Similar for Lethality though. Lethality is going to have extra health because you're not going to be taking that damage from minions during the laning phase. That is another really nice item. If you're going to go for Lethality though, if you're playing top lane, just go for Profane Hydra. It is so easy to just go straight for Profane Hydra, straight into Opportunity. After Opportunity, you can go for Edge of Night. In terms of if you're going for an armor pen item, you can go for either Grudge or Lord Doms. I would highly recommend you go Lord Doms. I was talking to Slog about it not so long ago, and she goes Lord Doms for the simple reason you get 10% extra armor pen, and that's more valuable than anything else that's on this item alone, because you're taking such heavy armor off base towers, inhibitor towers, tier 3 towers, and jungle monsters. It's just much more valuable than having 10 extra AD. So I would suggest that would be your Lethality build. If you wanted to round out this fast-paced build, what I would probably suggest you do is build the first 3, and then you can follow up with a Cleaver, Shojin, Liandry's. Your build is done. You don't have to go Liandry's. If you wanted to go for a GA last item, absolutely fine. I wouldn't probably invest into any more Lethality than the Opportunity gives you. So if you're going to go for the Strikebreaker, just sit on the one Lethality item. You don't need to go into it anymore. Just sit on that. If you don't want to go Opportunity, you don't have to go Opportunity. You can go any other Lethality item. You can go any Lethality item fits. If you like Axiom Arc, you can literally just go Axiom Arc in this slot, and you will get a very similar effect than if you had gone for the Opportunity. So that would just be a Strikebreaker into Axiom Arc. Is it better? I think it's debatable. I think it probably, in one sense, it actually is better, because if you get a kill, that 18% flat reduction off your ultimate cooldown, because it's based on the total cooldown, if the more CDR you have, the less effective it actually is. So the fact that I have no CDR, and this is my only CDR item, means that I'm actually getting more out of this item than if I had stacked CDR. That being said, I think it's a good item. I think any item works. At the end of the day, and look, I say this so many times, and I can't say it enough, as long as the item gives AD and HP, or Lethality or Armor Pen, you can build it. You can build anything on this champion. Any item that has some kind of niche interaction with Yorick through passive effects also works. So things like Liandry's, hell, Riftmaker still works on Yorick. these builds that I'm giving you here are basically guidelines. That's why I always do them in sets of 3. I always give you, these are the 3 items or these are 4 items. The rest is up to you. You can fill the pieces in the puzzle with whatever you want to build. But generally speaking, I think as long as you go these 3 items, you can pick any 2 of these. Usually I round it out with a Death Dance and a GA. And that becomes my pretty much standard go-to typical Ninetales build. If you're going to go for that build there, look, I would probably do the same thing. Bum, 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 bum. And then after that, I'd probably go last item, GA or Sterix. There's a really nice interaction at the moment between Sterix and Spirit Visage. That's why I've left them in the same slot. I think if you're versing AP damage, this is a go-to combo you have to go. So that's definitely how I would cover runes for this patch. No, that's definitely how I would cover items for this patch. So before we round out the video, I'm actually going to be doing coaching. So I'm going to be opening up coaching slots. I'm going to be doing it through Patreon. So keep an eye out. I'm going to be posting a link on my YouTube plus my Discord. I've opened a channel in my Discord server as well for people that want to actually get coaching. You can just drop your details, drop in your summoner name, your rank and stuff like that. And I'm going to reach back out to you. It's going to be done through Patreon mostly. So what I'll get you to do is just sub to the Patreon and then I'll organize a time. It'll probably be once a month you get coaching for a set fee. I'm not sure how much I'm going to charge for it yet, but I promise you it's not going to be ridiculously unaffordable. I like doing things for free as much as I can, but at some point, if I'm going to put a lot of effort into coaching and make this more than a little bit of a side hobby, it probably would be a bit more beneficial for me to actually put a price tag on it rather than simply just do free VOD reviews all the time. And I think it's better for you guys as well, because if you're going to get personalized coaching, you learn much more from me actually interacting with you rather than me just giving you a VOD review to do for free on the side. Now, there's going to be a Patreon tier as well where you actually get to watch all the coaching. And it's not going to cost a lot, literally dollars. I'm just going to put like $3 or something. And you just pay $3 a month and you can watch every coaching session I've ever done. And of course, I'm going to keep up with the free VOD reviews on my Discord as well. So you can just keep popping them through. I just can't guarantee they'll get done within like the day or 2 days or 3 days because I get sidetracked a lot. And I've got a baby at the moment who is occupying a lot of my time. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover about coaching. Anyway, thanks for watching, boys. I'm going to leave it here. Not too much to go through, so a nice quick video. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Keep up with my new Unranked to Master series. You can see we're gold 4 at the moment. We're 10-0 at the moment. Undefeated. Loving the content coming out. I'm having a lot of fun actually making these a bit more educational rather than just stomping on new players. I'm going to keep going with the Korean climb in the meantime because I do miss playing in high elo. But if you haven't already, join my Discord and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, fellas.